What's up, YouTube? It's Beef Flex. I'm gonna talk to you guys about muscle and fighting. Okay, muscles don't fight, right? That's most fighters agree with that sentiment, but I want to go deeper into it because it's a genuine thing. Like, for example, if you're an old school boxing coach, you might say to people like, lose muscle, focus on like being as skinny as possible because muscle is completely pointless, right? And then you might get some people that actually, Anthony Joshua actually train their muscles to some degree, right? Of course, there's a genetic element and whatever, but I just wanted to address it basically. So, first things first, I want to address bodybuilding and fighting, right? Bodybuilding is pretty useless to fighting, all right? If you want to be a professional fighter or just fighting in general, it is pretty useless. The main thing bodybuilding assists in when it comes to fighting is visual, right? It's the visuals. Like, visually, you are intimidating, but that's about it, right? So having big muscles is not going to help you win a fight. Having big biceps is not going to do anything because it's not functional muscle. It's just about aesthetic muscle. So if you train for aesthetics over athletics, then you're just going to look aesthetic while you're getting athletically ass whooped, okay? So you just need to train for function and then it will help in your fighting, right? So that's just the first thing. Bodybuilding is literally useless. The amount of muscle that you have is useless weight unless it's functional muscle, right? You don't need your chest to fight. Like a big ass perky chest, you don't need that to fight. You don't need amazing biceps to fight. Bulging forearms, that stuff is useless in your fighting, okay? So just to make that clear, you need strong muscles to fight. That would be very useful. You don't need it, but it would be very helpful. But big muscles aren't needed. Bigger isn't stronger. Of course, bigger aids in strength, but you want relative strength, okay? You don't just want absolute strength with the byproduct of insane amount of weight, okay? That weight is mostly useless. And on top of that, that added muscle just leads to a whole bunch of lactic acid, right? A whole bunch of lactic acid build up. And if you've ever sparred or fought, you know your shoulders get tired as heck and there's a whole bunch of lactic acid building up there. So even in your biceps, when you bring your arms back every time you punch, right? So the bigger you are, the more muscle you have, the more lactic acid is going to build, right? So you sacrifice stamina. Just to make that clear. Also want to make clear that it is skill over power and strength, okay? Skill is number one, okay? Ability, technical proficiency is the most important. Logan Paul, when he fought Floyd Mayweather, is a great example. Obviously, I get it. Like, this is like, one of the greatest of all time going up against someone who's literally just, he was like 0-1 professionally against KSI, But Logan was heavy as heck compared to Floyd Mayweather, and Logan probably not punches as hard, but probably is a lot stronger than Floyd Mayweather, right? A lot stronger if they bench press, shoulder press, squat, deadlift, anything. But Floyd Mayweather pieced him up because it's skill over everything. And even, it's how you punch over the muscles that punch, okay? Of course, I'm not now going to downplay the muscles role in hitting hard, but it's how you punch first, okay? If you can't throw a punch properly, your muscles are useless, right? So I just want to address that. It's more so the skill. If you know how to throw a punch, if you know how to move your body with a punch, if the kinetic chain moves beautifully, the punch will hit hard, okay? It doesn't matter how big your shoulders are, doesn't matter how strong your triceps are or anything, okay? Just to make that clear. However, even in jiu-jitsu, actually, like stuff like that in wrestling, ability, skill is number one, right? That's the most important. But you can't lie. Strength and power is most definitely helpful. In wrestling, of course, skill is most important, but there's weight classes for a reason. The weight classes is to make it more fair when it comes to strength. Right? Because they're assuming that the higher the weight classes, the stronger the people are. Same with boxing. Power is definitely important. That's why there's weight classes. So strength training can be useful, okay? Muscle is not bad. It just needs to be the good muscle, right? It needs to be the right type of muscle. So if you train, for example, your shoulders, your triceps, your legs, stuff like that, it will definitely help you in fighting. Right? Even I'm thinking boxing, that's what I'm saying, shoulders and stuff, but even your biceps, having strong grip, having strong pull muscles, having strong forearms would be amazing if you're wrestling, right? For example, doing jiu-jitsu, whatever, grappling, whatever, right? So having the right muscles being trained is very, very important. That's one thing, okay? So you can train your muscles and it can help you out in fighting, but also your training protocol. If you're focusing on building big muscles, yeah, that's not going to carry well to fighting because it's not about size, it's about ability, right? But if you have strong muscles or powerful muscles or fast muscles, now that will help. So you can effectively build muscle without the focus on just building big muscle, right? So if you have really strong grip, really strong pull muscles in general, that will undoubtedly help you out in wrestling or grappling in general. And the same with boxing. If you have some really powerful and fast push muscles, that's definitely going to help you hit hard. Okay, so that muscle isn't useless. Just make sure you have the right type of muscle. So this goes into your training protocol. That's why I said bodybuilding and boxing don't mix. Bodybuilding and fighting don't mix, because your muscle is made for size. It's made for aesthetics. But if you're training for purpose and you're training for function, and you're either strength training or power training, or even making sure your muscles move quickly, right? You're training how you want to fight, then of course the muscle is going to be useful. That's why you have people who, for example, you catch a bodybuilder who doesn't look like he could fight, but he's got big ass muscles, right? Then you look at someone like Mike Tyson, Evander Holyfield, and these people can fight, but they've got big muscles, right? Because the muscles are made for a purpose. Even Anthony Joshua, people can talk all they want. Anthony Joshua will sleep 99.99999 recurring percent of the population. Probably sleep. There's probably only like less than 1,000 people on the planet who Anthony Joshua couldn't sleep, right? If we're being completely real. And this is because, yet again, his muscles are useful, right? We can talk all we want about it, but the muscles are useful. Look at Deontay Wilder. People call him skinny. He's actually not that skinny. If you see him for the third fight with Tyson Fury, this guy was pretty buff. Considering he's 6'7", shrink him down to 6'2", this guy would look wham, right? But yet again, that muscle was useful muscle. So as long as you have useful muscle, there's no problem, right? And as long as you train for use, right? So pay attention to the muscles you're focusing on. Train muscles that would actually be useful in fighting, and then train them for strength. So train the movement. Don't be out here, for example, if you end up bench pressing or doing push-ups, don't be out here focusing on the mind-muscle connection so that you squeeze your chest at the top of the movement. There's no point in doing that, okay? There's no point in having amazing mind-muscle connection, because that's not going to help you fight, right? No one's going to, oh, man, I want to drop this guy. I want to tag him to the body or whatever, but his mind-muscle connection is so amazing, I'm scared. Like, no, that doesn't matter, right? How strong are you and how powerful are you? How fast do your muscles move, okay? Nothing about your mind-muscle connection. So if you train the movements in that regard, you'll definitely do good. I just wanted to make that clear. Of course, it's also endurance training. That's also helpful. So yet again, picking the muscles like your shoulders, doing a whole bunch of reps and overhead press can be very helpful as well, because now you have a bunch of shoulder endurance, right? Like training your legs, right? Mainly focusing on compound movements as well is very effective, okay? Rather than isolation exercises, which is one of the drawbacks in bodybuilding. As well, I do also want to draw, though, that bodybuilding still has a place in fighting, okay? And that place is if you are in need to increase, like to go up in weight. So, for example, Evander Holyfield was a cruiserweight. He went to move up to heavyweight. Or was he like, well, did they have cruiserweight back then? Whatever. He was a cruiserweight, was moving up to heavyweight, right? He actually worked with, if I'm not mistaken, Lee Haney, right? A bodybuilder, so that he could put on the weight so that he could be an effective heavyweight. And he still kept his power. So there is still room for bodybuilding in fighting, but it needs to be done effectively. Like John Jones put on some weight, but yet again, he put on functional weight. It doesn't look pretty, right? His physique isn't the most aesthetic physique. If anything, it doesn't look aesthetic at all, right? A little bit of gyno, right? But anyways, I'm joking, right? But my point is, it was his training. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he did get gyno because he has juice. But anyway, my point is his physique is still about function. He focused on putting on weight. Don't get it twisted. He focused on putting on mass, but it's still more about function than appearance, right? Athletics over aesthetics. So I just wanted to make that clear. There is still an important aspect of training that isn't really to do with your functional muscles per se. Like, you know, everything doesn't have to be like train how you fight, you know what I mean? Like, there is another way to train as well, which is just another protocol of training, which is just as important, and that's kind of fitness training, I would say. So training, for example, if you're boxing, pull-ups isn't really going to help you box, but it's definitely important to do. We need our pulling muscle just to be healthy in general. And if you want to prevent injuries, you better train all your muscles equally and balanced. But it's just correlated to how much you train for your sport, right? So if you're training martial arts 6 times a week and you're trying to make it in martial arts, then train your muscles 3 times a week, for example, in the fitness way, right? Just being healthy and whatever. You can't be training more for muscles than you are for fighting. You'll just look good while getting beat up. That's all it is. But of course, this is only if you're trying to focus on fighting on its own. If you're not a fighter, if you're not trying to compete, there's no problem in having big muscles. If anything, that's cool. You get the aesthetics and you get the athletics when you're training your martial art, right? So muscles can mix in fighting as long as you're not trying to be the best fighter. Okay, just to make that clear. As for me, guys, my training is focused on, I do still like to do calisthenics and I do still like to be healthy. So I do things like pull-ups for the sake of health. But other than that, I'm doing handstand push-ups, dips and squats, leg raises, training my neck. It's all on training the muscles that I would use in fighting for strength, speed and power. Okay. I will also say majority of my training is skill-based anyways. So I'll train my muscles, don't get it twisted. But the majority of my training is still based on the skill. Muscles do not fight. When I started boxing, I was getting pieced out by people who weighed like 30 kilos less than me. I'm not even joking. Like, the people who are that much lighter than me, and I couldn't even, maybe I hit harder than them, but I sure couldn't land. What's the point of hitting someone if you can't even land? The hands can't hit what the eyes can't see, right? So just wanted to make that clear. I hope this video helped you guys. For those of you who do want training plans for building muscle with calisthenics, check out my calisthenics training plan. And if you guys just want the most aesthetic physique, then my Baki Physique of Legends training plans is the one for you. My favorite training plan is Gravity. I'm gonna be real because that's close to the type of training I do and the type of training I'm most passionate about. But yeah, man, check out my website. It's b4flex.co.uk. Anyway, it's B4Flex and I'm out. That sounded like I just gave the intro.